Well, welcome to part 8 of my classic mini hydraulics build. This is going to be a video more explaining of how the hydraulic system is going to work and how all things in building this I've got planned. I think I briefly explained last time about the bodywork, etc., that I'm going to try and keep it stock mini looking. That's going to be apart from the spring box sitting on the parcel shelf, which is just going to be a bit of a focal point really. So right, I'm going to show you roughly how the hydraulic system is going to work. Let's see if the lighting's a bit better. I'm using something different for a camera this time, so let's give it a go. Right, I'm going to start off very simply. I'm going to try and go right back to basics if I can. What you're looking at now is the front hydraulic ram. This is obviously fixed to the upper control arm on the front mini suspension, and at the other end it's fixed to the top of the mini's wheel arch, inner wheel arch body. It's all welded onto the front subframe mount, and there's an oil pipe connection there that's going to run all the way to the rear of the car, which is where the 4 hydraulic pumps are going to be mounted, along with the 4 batteries as well in the boot floor. Now, for the purposes of describing all this, I'm just going to talk about one corner at a time. So each corner is basically going to have its separate pump, but it's not going to have a separate battery. All 4 pumps are going to be running off of one bank of batteries, which are going to be wired in series up to 48 volt. Hopefully. I'm going to try it on lower voltage when I start it. So right, so here's a diagram I drew earlier of how all this is going to work. Is it going to focus, or what's it going to do? I think that's fairly good. So anyway, where are we? This is going to be what they call a breakaway. So any problems occur, you can just pull on a piece of wire and it will break the whole battery side of things, break the circuit. So you get any problems, any fires, any switches melting or anything, that's going to be it. You'll be able to pull this little connection here and that will isolate the whole lot, making it safe. As you can see, 4 batteries wired in series, so that's 12, 24, 36, 48 volt. They go up to the solenoids, which is another thing I've got listed down here. I'll talk about that in a moment. So you've got a little switch there. It's connected to the 12 volt car side of the battery. Press the switch, which is one of these little things here. You push the switch one way, that will energise the solenoids, which will give you a 48 volt straight to the 12 volt pump, which will make it spin up incredibly fast. Then the other side of it, push the switch the other way, that will operate the down side of things, which on the hydraulic pump here, that is your release valve. All that does, when you press the up, it energises the solenoid, turns the motor, pumps the oil out of there into the hydraulic ram I showed you earlier. When you press the down, that just releases that and lets the oil flow back into the reservoir. So there's no pumping action to release the fluid back, so then that car just drops on its own weight. So the oil side of things, which is shown here in red, when you press the up, it energises the motor, the oil flows into the car suspension ram, lifts the car, and the oil then is like basically shut off. When you let go of the button, it'll shut the oil off there, so it will hold the height of the car. So while you're driving the car and you're going up and over bumps, the oil is flowing backwards and forwards here to a remote shock absorber. So instead of having a shock absorber on the car, you will have the oil flowing backwards and forwards, and the end of this is going to be on a spring, which, if you can see that okay, so you've got the oil flowing in through there, which is pushing the spring up and down. So that is how your suspension will actually work. Now I was going to say about the solenoids down the bottom here. Because I'm running such high voltage, these solenoids on a single solenoid will be quite weak. They'll only handle, I believe, about 150 amps each. So what I was going to do, I was going to wire the was going to put 3 solenoids in parallel so they'll handle more current. So that there is going to be 3 solenoids, not 1. There is going to be another little complicated part to this as well. I am also going to have a 12 volt lift on each corner, so that'll be a spur taken off of here with another solenoid which also connects to the pump. It's just so I can raise the car when I'm driving at a sensible speed, because obviously with 48 volt it should really push the car up quickly, and obviously if I'm driving I don't want to move it fast. So I hope that explains how things are going to work, especially this spring box side of it. As you can see on the middle there, that's going to be a suspension, so the oil is going to flow between there via a hydraulic hose. So if you've got any other questions, let us know in the comments and I shall try and explain it. But this is the, should I say, cheap tipper pump that I'm going to be using. This is in no way in sort of relation to the proper hydraulic, proper lowrider hydraulic pumps that are used. They're a lot more money, probably a hell of a lot better quality. This is quite a cheap unit, and I'm totally aware of that. It's the motor side of it is quite high spec, which I wanted. It's the motor that's going to be the dependent bit. So this is your 12 volt motor, that's your solenoid, this little sandwich piece here, that's the pump, and then obviously the reservoir that holds the oil. Yeah, this is the, when I was saying about pressing the down button, this is the release solenoid that really pulls a little shuttle valve back and allows the oil to flow back through the hydraulic hose back into the reservoir via gravity. Is there anything else I need to explain? I'm not so sure. I suppose I could try and explain. I think I might have explained this before, I'm not too sure, but the rear hydraulic rams, you can just about see there, that's the seat back. So the rear hydraulic rams are going to sit sort of in parallel with that seat back and attached to the inner arch. It's all going to be braced up, but the lower part of the arm, you see where the brake pipe piece is there, that's, I'm going to make some big, strengthen them up loads and make some big ram mount on the bottom of that arm. I'm not going to be using the shock absorber mount at the back. So yeah, I think that's all I need to explain. Oh yeah, there's one of the switches there which I should be using, this type of switch, so that'll be up and then that'll be down, whichever. So that's how that's going to work. Yeah, I think that's all self-explained. Yeah, so like I say, if you've got any questions on anything you'd like to know, any further details or anything, then hit me up in the comments and I shall try my best to answer your questions. I'm by all means no lowrider expert, and should I dare say, the proper American lowriders are probably going to be wired different to mine, because they use their solenoids in series for some reason. Personally, I can't understand why. The only answer I can have from the lowrider guys when I've asked them is because that's how it's always been done. Doesn't actually make sense to me, because if you wire anything in series, only one of them's got to go wrong and that wipes the whole lot out, where this way, this can handle a lot more current. So let's say they're 100 amps each, that circuit will be able to handle 300 amps. Whereas if these were solenoids, it would still be 100 amps there, 100 amps there, 100 amps there, 100 amps there. So even if one of them blew, it's still blowing under 100 amp load, or the full load of the circuit, should I say. Right, okay, well hopefully I've explained everything. I've still got a lot more to do to the spring box. I've been ill for a couple of days. I was going to try and get down and do this the other day, but even had to have some time off work, wasn't feeling too good. So hopefully I'm going to get down here again tomorrow, make some noise with the angle grinders and see if I can get some more done on this. I kind of just want to get that spring box done, really. if I can get that done and finished, then that's one less big item to do. Still a fair bit to do to that. So right, okay, like I keep saying, any more questions, let us know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you. Thanks for watching. Well, I'd just like to say thanks for Mini Matt TV for asking the question there. So hopefully this video explains how things are going to work. I just presumed that everyone would know what I'm doing, but you know, obviously Mini Matt TV said that he understood some of it but wasn't quite sure on all of it, so could I explain? So hopefully that explains it, Matt. Thanks for the question again, mate. And there's something else I need to show you. I've been thinking about making like a custom switch blocks for the Mini, because you know, like the lowrider guys, they have this sort of massive like clear perspex thing with loads and loads of switches in it, which makes the car do all different things. Absolutely fantastic. And I've seen it was on YouTube somewhere. I think it might have been something to do with Steve Mead. Maybe it was the hoopty he did. I think he had like an Escalade toy car, and he put all the switches in the roof. Now that kind of inspired me. I quite like that. So I've been given this die-cast Mini model, which I don't know if you can see that. It's got wire wheels and everything on it, which I would love for me Mini, but don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, so I'm going to hopefully put all the 9 switches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 switches in the roof of this Mini. Going to black out all the windows, stick the doors shut and all that sort of thing, just so I can use it as a switch box. So it's a pretty cool little toy actually. It'd be a shame to sort of drill some holes in the roof of it and make it a switch box, but I think that'll be pretty cool. So that's what the plan is. Let me know what you think of that. You know, I think it'll be brilliant. So yeah, as I say, thanks for the questions again. I do try and answer every question in the comments, or you know, if you just put a comment, I try and at least like it, and I'll answer any questions that you have. So let us know, and let us know what you think of the little Mini. I quite like that.